You don't have to leave them behind to move forward. But at the start of the year, it can really feel that way. For some people, the new year feels like a reset or a fresh start and a clean slate. But when you're grieving someone, especially the person that has passed or is no longer here, it can feel very, very different. It's another year without your person. So today I want to talk about how to bring that person you love forward with you into a new year in a way that feels honest and grounding and meaningful, where you're bringing your loss, you're bringing your grief, you're bringing your love, and you're maintaining that connection with you. And if we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Destiny Ray L. I'm a trauma-informed grief and life coach, and I do this work because I've lived it. And I now support others navigating their way through grief and life transitions to move forward and rebuilding their lives of meaning and purpose without leaving that person behind. And I know because loss turned my life upside down. And it's why this conversation is so important to me, especially this week at the top of the year, because for me, it's very, very tender. Tomorrow, January 6th, is my brother's birthday. And just 2 days later, January 8th, is the day he passed away suddenly and tragically 15 years ago. And I know for you, if it's been just 1 year or 15 years or 26 years or however long it's been, the new year is always a marker of loss. It holds a whole new meaning. And I know how painful it can be, especially when we get that message that moving forward means moving on. And that's just so not true for us, because it can feel like it somehow separates you from your person, from your grief. And that can feel impossible because you don't want to leave them behind. You don't want to let go. Each day that goes by and each year that turns can feel like we're leaving them behind, which is the last thing that we want to do. But no one really ever teaches us how to keep living in a way that honors our grief and honors our person and yet supports our life at the same time. And we're left with this tension. How do I keep going without leaving them? And that's why I like to think of it this way. The question isn't, how do I let go? It's, how do I bring them forward? How do I build a life while carrying my grief, while carrying my love, while carrying my person that means so much to me with me? And that's what I invite you to start asking yourself too. It took me a long time to understand, but what I have learned, and I'm still actually learning this, is that my brother is still with me. He isn't just somebody that I've lost. He is a part of who I am now. The very fabric of my being. He shaped how I show up in my life, the grief work I do, how I see things now, what I value, the choices I make. This video exists because of him. I have tattoos all over now in honor of him. My dog's name is Josephine, named after him. There's so many ways that I carry him forward. And I know that, or at least I am starting to know now, that moving forward doesn't mean you're leaving your person behind. It just means learning how to live with them in a different way. And over the years, I've realized that there isn't one answer to how you carry someone forward. It's very, very personal, and it's going to change. And it often looks very different for everyone. But there are a few ways that have helped me, and I would love to share them with you. So one way that I want to encourage is thinking about their values. I want you to think about what their values are. What did the person that you love care about? How did they show up in the world? What really mattered to them? And then ask yourself, what values of theirs lives in me now? Maybe you protect your time differently now, or maybe you're more honest or more bold, or even more present, more intentional about how you live your life. For me, when I think about my brother, one of the things that's been standing out lately is just how adventurous he was. He loved trying new things and exploring new places, saying yes to new experiences. I can still catch myself thinking, like, what would he do in this situation? I can hear him literally saying, Destiny, yes, go, do that. Say yes to that. And lately, especially with this new year, I've really just been noticing that part of me that's been wanting to be adventurous more, not just, sitting in my house filming YouTube videos, which I do want to do, but really just getting out there and just trying new things that I haven't before. And that's the energy that I want to bring forward in my life that was very much connected to him. And I want to be really clear. This isn't about someone else deciding what your person would want for you. And I know when they say, oh, but he would want you to be happy, or she would want you to try this, that's often a platitude, and it's never helpful. This is not for anyone else to determine. This is about you connecting to what you loved about them, their values, their spirit, their presence, their essence. And sometimes when we really tune into that and think, what would my dad say right now? Or what would my mom remind me of in this moment? What qualities of theirs do I want to live from today? That's how we can move them forward with us, by letting what mattered to them continue to matter through us. So the second way we can bring someone forward is through the ways we continue their presence in our lives. And this doesn't have to be big or public. It could be just private between you and your person. Maybe it's lighting a candle on certain days. I mean, to this day, I pretty much burn incense every single day because I feel connects me to my brother. Cooking their favorite meal. Maybe it's listening to their music or visiting a place that they loved every month, or even just saying their name out loud. It might even be just sharing stories or their favorite joke. I mean, I talk about my brother all the time, clearly. Letting people know who they were and who they were to you, keeping their memory alive in everyday moments. For me, one of the most meaningful ways that I honor my brother is through his music. We moved to LA together for music. We sang together. He's an amazing musician and songwriter. And sharing his songs is one of the most important ways that I try to continue his legacy and bring him forward with me. So if you would want to listen, I'll leave the link below. I would love that. But this is just one of the many ways I keep my brother close. And I know everyone's way is going to look different. What matters is finding a way that feels true for you. So ask yourself, what's one small or maybe one big ritual or practice or a way of remembering that helps me feel connected to them? And it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It doesn't have to look like mine. It just has to feel true for you. And I hope this was helpful. You don't have to leave them behind to keep living. And you don't have to choose between honoring someone you love and moving forward. You get to carry your love, your grief, and your person with you as life continues. And I know it's not easy. And I know there's no roadmap for it. And in fact, if you're trying to figure that out or, need support with that, or even just asking, how do I honor my person, and honor that person I love while also rebuilding your life that is meaningful or true for who you are now, you don't have to do it alone. I would love to support you. And that's exactly the work that I do. And that's the work that I do in my one-on-one sunset to sunrise journey. I support people through the full arc of the loss and the messy middle and the transition and the change and then the rebuilding that follows. So if that's something that resonates with you or you would like to learn more about, I would love to invite you to schedule a free connection call with me and we can talk and see how I could support you. I'll leave the link below. And if it feels right for you, I would love to invite you to also share your person's name in the comments. Sometimes that alone is a way of honoring them and holding the space together. And I would love to hold your person's space in this community and just by saying their name. So I invite you to do that. In the meantime, I will see you next week. I'm going to be talking about something that comes up for so many of us after loss or a major life change or disruption in our lives, especially after the start of a new year. And it's, how do you imagine a future? How do you make plans or habits or goals or even trust what's ahead when life just threw you for a loop, or the life that you knew no longer exists, or even when the future just doesn't feel safe or predictable anymore? That's what we're going to talk about next. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here.